In this video, we're going to be talking about humility and how important it is when it comes to going down your spiritual path. But before we do that, smash that subscribe button and smash that like button, and be sure to turn on the notification bell to let YouTube know that we actually exist in all this content. Humility is very important when it comes to the spiritual path. Everyone's spiritual path is going to be unique. But humility plays a big role when you are working with Greek deities, Egyptian deities, demons, or whoever you choose to work with. It is very important because we come to these deities for help. We come to these deities for enlightenment, for gnosis, for shadow work. And we don't want our ego to get in the way. When the ego gets in the way of humility, it is very difficult to learn what is coming in, what the Spirit is trying to tell us. When this happens, the ego can cloud clarity in the mind when you are dealing with these deities. The ego can also cause projections onto the deity. So what you hear might not bear the clear message from the energy that is trying to speak to you. Emotions can get involved. It's important to keep everything clear in the mind so try to make sure that the ego is pushed aside. Humility is very important in how we even function in this world. People do not like to speak to people who are arrogant. The same applies when you are working with a deity. If you are coming to the deity with arrogance, the deity might choose not to speak to you, and the messages will become distorted. When I started taking magic very seriously, years ago, I think I started working with the Tree of Life somewhere in my late 20s, and I couldn't get through the obstacles that were presented to me because of my arrogance. When you are working on your spiritual path, it is important to be aware when the ego starts to project its illusions onto the work that you are doing. Remember, anything that the ego can project is a distortion of what you are hearing. It's a distortion of what you are seeing. When you try to move the ego aside and show true humility, things become clearer as the deity connects to you. I thought this video was important because I do feel there are not many videos about this, especially when it comes down if you choose to walk the left-hand path. When you are working with the clip-off, if you choose this path, it's important to see through the illusions and see through the distortions that the tree is presenting to you. It's important to try to see through these illusions, see through the distortions. That is what true alchemy is. Raw gnosis. You also have to be on top of it all the time when you are working on your spiritual path. Keep humility intact. This is what happens. When you go through some sort of gnosis, when new knowledge comes to you, the ego grabs a hold of that, attaches to that gnosis. And because of that, what happens, it starts to project. And then it creates obstacles that stops you from ascending, stops you from moving forward. So it's important to continue to have humility as one of the tools to get you to where you need to go in your spiritual path. Here's a wonderful example of what happened to me. When I started working with the 22 tunnels of Set, I knew by what I've read that Arrogance rules the 22 tunnels of Set. But me, being arrogant at that time, asked Lilith to help me because to me Lilith is the whole clipothic tree. And I asked Lilith, can I work with Arrogance? But I called her to help me with the 22 tunnels of Set. That was my arrogance and my ego getting in the way. I realized it at that time that I did something wrong, that I became too arrogant. And I couldn't work with Lilith for 3 days because every time I tried to call Lilith, she did not come. I was deeply concerned that I did something wrong. And I also apologized for my arrogance. Eventually, after 3 days, she appeared. You learn many things as you go down your path, especially if you choose to take the initiations through the clip-off. You have to monitor yourself as you go through these initiations. That is what I tell my students. There are going to be many obstacles that you need to face. When you have humility, it is easier to face these obstacles because you don't have the ego projecting illusions and distortions. Because you don't want to fall into that trap where you feel that you cannot move forward in your spiritual progression, that you cannot obtain the prime materia of transmutation. To me, spirituality is a development. It's a set of tests, and it is a school of learning. The raw knowledge that is given to you, the deification, and an understanding of who you truly are, of your growth. Also, it's very important not to compare yourself to anybody. If you are a beginner, if you are an expert, everyone has their path. Everyone is going through their spiritual refinement. There is absolutely no race. What's important is you understand the lessons and you understand the teachings that you are being given to reach apotheosis, deification, and transmutation. Don't be left behind. Thank you for watching, and if you want to support the channel so I could bring you better content, consider following me on Patreon. And if you want to learn about Lucifer's Overkill, click over here.